It is 1 in the morning. You are still awake. Your mind is tired, but it refuses to shut down. You replay conversations. You replay that moment where someone twisted your words. You replay the look they gave you when they made you feel small. You trusted them. You opened your mind. You spoke honestly. You thought honesty meant strength. And somehow, you walked away from that conversation feeling confused, guilty, smaller than when it started. Why does that keep happening? Why do some people walk away stronger from every interaction, while others walk away drained? Why does it feel like some people know rules that nobody ever taught you? Now listen carefully, because tonight is the last time you see this game without understanding it. Most people believe manipulation looks obvious. They imagine loud voices, angry people, open attacks. That is not how real manipulators work. Real manipulators smile. They look calm. They speak softly. They make you feel like you are the problem. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote something centuries ago that still explains the world today. A wise ruler ought never to keep faith, when by doing so it would be against his interests. Think about that for a moment. Some people move through life following a code of honor. Others move through life studying power. And when those two people meet, one of them always loses. But here is the part most people never understand. Manipulation is not chaos. Manipulation is a game. An invisible board, silent moves, hidden strategies, and most people walk through life as pieces on that board. Moved, positioned, sacrificed, but not tonight. Tonight, you learn 3 dark psychology weapons that turn hidden knives into armor. 3 weapons that protect your mind. 3 weapons that make manipulators look for easier prey. Now, here is the part that separates those who understand power from those who only wish they did. The first weapon is silence. Most people lose power the moment they open their mouth. They explain. They defend. They try to prove they are right. You have done this before, have you not? Someone accuses you of something unfair. You rush to explain. You try to clarify. And suddenly, the conversation becomes chaos. They interrupt. They twist your words. They bring up old stories. They make you defend things you never even said. You start the conversation confident. You leave it confused. Why? Because explanation gives manipulators material. Every sentence you give them becomes clay in their hands. They reshape it. They weaponize it. They turn it against you. Now here is the real game changer. Silence breaks their script. Manipulators expect energy. They expect emotion. They expect you to fight. Instead, you pause. You look at them. Calm, still. You answer slowly. Few words, no emotion. This is called the gray rock method. You become dull, uninteresting, emotionless, like a stone sitting in the road. And manipulators hate stones, because stones cannot be moved. Marcus Aurelius wrote a line that every powerful mind should memorize. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Think about that. Manipulators live on chaos. When you refuse chaos, they lose oxygen. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Silence is a weapon. Imagine a chess game. One player moves with emotion. The other studies quietly. Which one wins? Now answer this honestly. Have you ever met someone who twists every conversation until you feel like the villain? Write yes in the comments if you have experienced this. Because when you see the pattern once, you begin to see it everywhere. But most people stop learning here. They think silence alone solves everything. It does not, because manipulators have another weapon. And it is far more dangerous. Now, here is the part most viewers ignore. The ones who keep listening are the ones who change their lives. Manipulators do not control people with logic. They control people with emotion, guilt, fear, obligation. Listen to these sentences. You have heard them before. After everything I have done for you. If you cared about me, you would do this. You are being selfish. These are not arguments. These are emotional traps. And the moment you defend yourself emotionally, you step directly into the cage. Imagine a hunter placing food inside a trap. The animal sees food. It does not see the cage. Manipulators do the same thing with guilt. They place emotion in front of you. Your empathy walks straight into it. But here is how power flips the board. You expose the tactic calmly, directly. You say something simple that sounds like guilt, or that feels like pressure, not a fair conversation. Now something strange happens. The invisible game board becomes visible, and manipulators hate light, because deception survives only in darkness. Machiavelli wrote something that sounds cold, but reveals truth. Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. That sentence explains centuries of history. People do not fall into traps because they are stupid. They fall into traps because they want harmony. They want approval. They want peace. Manipulators study that desire. They weaponize it. But when you name the tactic, the spell breaks. It is like pulling a mask off someone in a crowded room. Suddenly, everyone sees. And manipulators hate exposure more than conflict. Tell me something in the comments. Have you ever felt guilty for saying no, even when you knew you were right? Be honest, because that feeling is the doorway manipulators use. Now listen carefully. Silence weakens them. Exposure destabilizes them. But neither of these tactics truly stops them, because manipulators always have one final weapon. And it is the most dangerous one. Now here is the moment where most people fail. They understand manipulation, but they refuse to enforce consequences. The third weapon is boundaries, hard boundaries, not polite requests. Real ones. Most people treat boundaries like suggestions. They say things like, "I would prefer if you did not do that." Manipulators hear that and smile, because they know something about human nature. People repeat behavior that has no consequence. Think about it. If someone crosses your line and nothing happens, what did they learn? They learned your boundary is fake. So they push again, then again, then again, until your limits disappear. Now watch what happens when consequences appear. You leave the conversation. You stop giving attention. You refuse favors. You remove access. No shouting. No drama, just action. Suddenly the rules change, because power respects only one language: enforcement. History gives us a brutal example. Julius Caesar standing at the Rubicon River. One step forward meant rebellion. One step forward meant war. One step forward meant no return, and he stepped forward. After that moment, the world changed. Because some lines once crossed redefined power. Your boundaries must feel the same: clear, cold, final. You do not argue them, you enforce them. Manipulators are like water. They flow through weakness. They search for cracks. Seal the cracks and they move somewhere else. So answer this honestly. Are you the silent power in the room or the pawn someone else moves? Write it in the comments. Silent power or pawn. Choose one. Now we reach the truth most people avoid. Manipulators exist everywhere. Friends, partners, co-workers, sometimes family. You cannot remove them from the world. But you can remove their power over you, and that changes everything. When you master silence, they lose emotional fuel. When you expose their tactics, their deception collapses. When you enforce boundaries, their control disappears. And then something strange happens. Manipulators stop targeting you. Why? Because predators hunt easy prey. They look for emotional reactions. They look for guilt. They look for weak boundaries. When they see discipline, they leave. Picture a chessboard again. Before tonight, you were reacting. Now you are observing. Before tonight, you were defending. Now you are studying the game. And once you see the board clearly, you cannot unsee it. Most people will never reach this point. They will watch half this video. They will return to their old habits. They will remain pieces. But the few who stay until the end, those are the ones who change their lives. So here is the final question. Are you going to keep reacting emotionally while others move you across the board? Or are you ready to become the player? If this video spoke to you, do 3 things. Press like, subscribe, and write this sentence in the comments. I choose power over pity. Because once you see manipulation clearly, you never return to ignorance. You never beg for respect again. You become calm, strategic, untouchable, and remember this tomorrow when someone tries to twist your mind again. The one who understands the game does not fear the player.